Hello, everyone, and welcome to Who We Would, an unofficial Doctor Who podcast. My name is Ben. As always, I'm joined by my wonderful co host, Cam. How are you, Cam?
I'm doing fine. I can't. There's not a lot to talk about at the moment. I'm just doing fine, man. Been listening to a lot of King Crimson. That's been keeping me up. King Crimson is very good.
Yeah,
But apart from that, I've just been kind of just running through life as you do, I should say.
sure. Yeah, I'm just chilling, playing the new Fortnite season, which is probably gonna be like almost done by the time this outs, but doesn't matter. It's all good. Today we are once again discussing Doctor Who, the fourth Doctor, the third serial of season 12, the Sontaran Experiment, the grand return of the Sontarans after just a couple, like six episodes without him. Long time. But yeah, it was broadcast February 22nd to March 1st, 1975, which of course means this is only a two-parter, which I don't think has ever been done before up to this point.
Well, in the first Doctor, there's two,
Actually, no, yeah, you're right. There's Edge of Destruction and the Rescue. So I retract that.
but we haven't had it in a long
An
time.
uncommonly short serial for sure.
What do you know the reasons behind that production was?
I haven't looked it up. I'm extrapolating that they cut this short so that they would have more time and money and episode count to make Genesis a six-parter, because otherwise it would just be five four-parters.
So part of it was just that Robert Holmes realized that six-parters were bad.
Finally.
So he didn't want to do multiple six-parters in a season. So they got around that with for Ark in Space, all of it's in studio for those four parts. And these two parts, of course, is only outside filming. So it's shares the same production crew and same director. So that's how they were able to get around it. It's basically they made a six-parter, but they split it up into two stories. So this is kind of like the budget-wise, the budget still of Ark in Space.
Kind of like the Frontier in Space, Planet of the Daleks situation.
No, because that one is like I don't think the money was like intertwined. This one, like I feel like I think the money was intertwined and it shared the same director.
Okay. So yeah, this is just a little itty bitty baby episode. I mean, they try and make it like the whole of humanity is at stake. The Earth's going to be invaded, but it's a very small scope story. Only just a couple actors on a hill in like Scotland or whatever. Just like one hill.
To get the credits before we get into the episode itself. Directed by Rodney Bennett, who did the previous story, like I just said, Ogden Space, but written by Bob Baker and Dave Martin, who wrote They Were Claws of Axos and they wrote The Three Doctors. So they skipped a season. They didn't do any episodes in season 11, but they're back this time around. Duo. And of course, script edited by Robert Holmes and produced by Philip Pinchcliffe. So he did not come. Robert Holmes did not come back to write his beloved Sontarans. He let other writers bring them back.
I see. The second ever Hinchcliffe story. So what do you thought?
I don't like hate the Sontaran Experiment. This is like one of the first like classic Doctor Who episodes I've ever seen.
Like when you were a kid?
Yeah, because it was like the DVD was cheap because it's only the two episodes. So it was like it must have been like a $5 to $10 DVD.
That would have sucked to like having to get a whole ass DVD for just the Sontaran experiment.
I remember liking it as a kid. It's just now watching it as an adult, I'm kind of more going on like I wish there was a little bit more meat to the bone, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's pretty basic.
Yeah.
I feel like it needs more meat on the bone. It needs to be fleshed out. Maybe I mean, I could see this working as with an expanded script as a four-parter maybe with a similar concept.
But do we have more locations at that point? It's just can you do a full Potter on a hill bed is what I'm saying.
I don't know, but I feel like for two parts, you can't wait till the second episode to introduce the Sontaran. He needs to be there right away.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great cliffhanger that they just stole from the Time Warrior, but, like, Styre, the Sontaran, should have been there at, like, minute 5. There's too much of just, like, walking around the hills. What's that up in the hill? Is that a person? Ah, I'm stuck in a hole. I can't get out of the hole. Like, literally, like, 25% of the story is in the hole, whether it's the Harry or the Doctor, which is too much.
Yes. The first part I would say is the worst of the 2 because it's pretty boring and pretty much nothing really happens in it. Like you said, it's just, I'm stuck in a hole. And then the doctor's like, you're just using a screwdriver for a bit there just to like Sonic the teleporter or whatever the hell he's doing at the teleporter with the Sonic.
Yeah, fixing the transmat receivers.
And then we get introduced to the colonists. They're also there. That they're like the only people, other people on Earth, basically. It's coincidence that that the transporter led them to the only people on Earth.
I mean, the Earth is very small. It's just England.
But it's not even just England. It's just It's just, well, yeah. For this, it's London. And they say it's London. So like, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Which solar winds must, like, really fuck with it must fuck with the whole environment. I didn't know this. But thank God, like, we have, like, vegetation now, we have grass, so it's not all just, like, desert.
No, it is pretty. It's a scenic whatever, I don't know what part of the UK this was filmed in, but it's pretty. It's very scenic.
They filmed it at Dartmoor,
I don't know where Dartmoor is.
southwest England.
Okay. I know where England is.
Because 'Cause I'm looking on the map. I think it's I might be Wales. Let me look it up.
I mean, Wales, I know, is, like, the west side.
Yeah, no, this is not Wales, this is still England.
Yeah, I'm looking on the map right now. It's, like, the little tip.
Yeah. Beautiful place. Like you said, very like, reminiscence of, like, pictures you see of, like, Scotland and
Yeah,
Ireland.
no, it works as, like, a place that has been untouched by man for 10,000 years. Pretty.
Yeah.
So, what do you think, we only had him for 1 episode. What do you think of Styre?
I don't hate Steyer. He's definitely not as good as, Lynx.
No?
Lynx is MVP. Steyer doesn't have that menace to him that Lynx has.
Do you think part of it is the new design?
So, the behind the scenes stuff is it's played by the same actor, Kevin Lindsay, but Kevin Lindsay had issues, like, breathing in the original makeup like, mask.
Yeah.
So they had to make it a little bit more breathable and flexible, and it kinda shows it's not as good.
Uh, I mean, I don't know. There are things I like better in the original, but there are also things I like better in this new one. I like that the whole mouth moves when he's talking. It's not just like a little sliver that's human sized and then with painted on the rest. It's fully like articulated, and I think that looks better.
I disagree because I kinda think it looks like more like a mask. It more looks like a person
Eh,
in a mask when it is like that. It looks like a mask is going up and down instead of somebody's mouth going up and down.
Really?
Yeah, and also, like, I think, like, maybe it's just because we don't see, like, close-ups of it, but, like, they got rid of, I believe, judging from what I'm able to see, they got rid of a lot of, like, the hairs on his face, and, like, that stuff, I think, adds a lot of character Lynx. I feel like it's missing in Styre. Also, I think, like, just the lighter tone of it just makes it kind of more look like a mask than the darker colors of.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It looks a little bit more like painted rubber and
Yeah.
less like sculpted kind of head. It looks less like skin and more like paint. Very like chalky. I don't know.
Yeah, no, chalky is a good word to describe it. It's very funny that we've only seen now the Sontarans twice, this clone race, and they look completely different.
Hmm.
The one thing that should be cheap for them to do is keep on replicating the same design over and over again, but they're not able to
Oh,
do it.
are they clones?
Yeah, the Sontarans is a clone race, so they all look identical. And they even say in the script, like Sarah's like, "Well, you just look like just like Lynx," and you're just telling yourself you don't look just like Lynx.
No. I'm remembering now that like like dialogue in the Time Warrior where like they don't have females.
Which is why they able to get away with, like, when he talks to, like, the marshal, he looks identical because it is just the same exact mask.
Mhm.
Just with, like, 2, like, roundels that just represents that he's a marshal, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, Steyer is fine. I think there's definitely Kevin Lindsay was sick during filming of this. He died a couple weeks after broadcast. I think it kinda does show in some areas that, like, he's not able to, like, give it at his all as much as he was able to do as Lynx.
Yeah.
I also think there's, definitely a couple of, times where you see the terrain doesn't help with the costume because he's kinda has to look where he's going, and he kinda have to, like, feel around.
Yeah, he's a little bit more lumbering around.
Which just sucks just because Lynx has that power to him in that performance in Time Warrior, and this one, he's kinda more just feels like a man in a mask. But it's very sad that Kevin Lindsay died very shortly after this.
Yeah.
What do you think of him, what do you think of Steyer?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's fine. Character-wise, he's not as good as Lynx. I guess a little bit more of a I mean, not an idiot, but he's more easily outsmarted. And yeah, like I said, the design is pros and cons. There's like an evilness that Lynx had that I feel like is missing from Steyer. Like maybe he's a little bit too analytical.
But I kinda like that.
And maybe that's just because he's doing experiments. He's not
Yeah.
conquering.
Like, this like, it's pretty funny that you have, like, Lynx who's there, he's like he takes over the planet when he arrives, but Steyer just arrives and he's just like, "I gotta experiment on these fuckers." And there's something to that, that you have that's kind of cool that he's just, "Alright, I need to, like, for the glory of my empire, I need to study these guys and realize what is their weaknesses and
Yeah.
what are their strong points, and so we can take them over."
And he doesn't half-ass it,
No.
which is kind of the crux of having the invasion story that they also try to interweave this with is he doesn't want to send an incomplete findings, so doesn't give him anything. And of course, they're such a careful planning species. They're not gonna invade without Dyer's report, so they're gonna call the whole thing off. There's nothing they can do. No possible recourse.
But it's also funny that's, like, again, he finds the only, like, 4 humans on planet Earth, supposedly.
Oh, no, he draws them there. He lures them there with a fake distress signal.
But, like, I'm just saying that, like, there's why is he doing I shouldn't say that. Why is he doing these experiments on these humans that have nothing to do with this planet? This planet is for the what is 1, why is Earth's tactical advantage if there's nobody here?
That's a good question.
Like, why? It's not like, "Oh, we gotta destroy these fuckers." It's like, these fuckers are destroyed. He doesn't know about Space Station Nova, and that they're gonna stop breeding, like, rabbits on this planet, repopulating the Earth.
I'm looking at the transcript. Sarah, they're gonna invade Earth, the Doctor. The entire galaxy suddenly acquired some strategic importance in their endless war against the Rutan. So it's of some importance, whatever that may be. What did you think of with the Doctor and company here? I feel like I'll just say first. This feels like a story that doesn't quite utilize Tom Baker well. Like this feels like a story that if John Pertwee did it, it would have been pretty close to the same thing. I don't know. What do you think?
Like, he has that good moment where he's talking about how much he loves clocks and just describing the different
Yeah,
clocks. That's a very great Tom bit.
I liked that.
There's some good chemistry with him and Sarah. But then yeah, it's not a memorable use of Tom or even Sarah or Harry. It's just kind of like
Harry gets to carry around a big stick though.
good for Harry, dude. I was cheering Harry along so much. I also found it funny. I just gotta bring it up now. There's the moment where the doctor distracts Dyer, if you
Oh,
remember.
and he like spins him around.
No, but he says, "Good job, Harry," and Harry's not there, and he kind of is questioning why did he say Harry? So Darwin doesn't know who Harry is. Why is he saying Harry? He's just like, "Oh, look over there." He has to say Harry, like he knows who he's talking about. I just found that to be very weird when the reveal was Harry wasn't there.
Yeah, just yeah, it could have been like, "What's that?" I don't know. Speaking of, the doctor, he says, "Good job, Harry." He like spins Steyer, and then he runs away, and then Steyer just turns around and shoots him. I feel like Tom doesn't seem to know Venusian karate anymore, and it makes it Maybe I'm just used to Pertwee, but he feels a little bit more helpless. Like,
Yeah,
he gets shot and injured several times in just a couple episodes, knocked unconscious, and he doesn't really defend himself very well, I feel.
but I feel like that's just kind of the differences between Pertwee and Tom as a performer. Like Pertwee wants to be, I'm the hero, and I'm one to be heroic, and Tom's just there. He's just like, I'm gonna come to see him. I'm gonna be bumbling. I'm gonna defeat this guy because he tripped over my scarf. Like it's not gonna be this epic karate moves. It's just like, oops. So you did that. Like it's much more like it's that Troughton thing as well of just like he's playing like the bumbling idiot in some ways.
I guess that's true. I guess I'm after 5 seasons, I'm just used to Pertwee's way of doing things,
Yeah.
of tackling problems head on, "There's a monster, I'm gonna punch it in the face." Not, like, trying to be all coy and outwit and outrun people.
No, Tom is like, I wanna tell a couple of good jokes.
Yeah.
Make the audience laugh.
Speaking of laugh, one line I really like. I like this recurring gag of the doctor having, like, just pockets full of, like, tons and tons of random bits and bobs.
Mm.
I think that's really funny. One line I really liked, he says, "Never throw anything away, Harry. Where's my 500-year diary? I remember jotting some notes on the Sontarans." And then he says, "It's a mistake to clutter one's pockets, Harry."
That line, I chuckle at that. It's a great line.
Wonder why. So there's this transmat technology that has now been introduced and established. I wonder why they're saying transmat and they're not like reintroducing the TMAT devices from like the seed of
Seeds of Death.
seeds of death. Was it in anything else?
I don't know. I think I've only seen it in Seeds of Death.
It was in a book I read too that they said, oh yeah, the murder games had TMAT devices mentioned.
Do you wanna know why the T-Mat isn't mentioned, Ben?
Why?
Because Robert Holmes probably did not know about the T-Mat, and then
Probably. So he invented a transmat. Not as cool as a Star Trek transport, I have to say.
no.
They just kinda pop in and out of existence.
But this one allows you to tell, like, a little joke,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then lets you boop out.
Yeah, they were able to they squeezed some jokes out of it, both transmatting in and transmatting away. Though that was funny. Any thoughts about Sarah and Harry?
Not really, just they were there.
They were there.
I thought that Elizabeth does a great job being horrified at Steyer. Does a great like, "Oh my god, the humanity." Just like she does a great job at stuff like that.
Yeah.
Really pulls it off, really makes even though we talked about how Steyer is not as menacing as Lynx, she is treating it like he is, and you gotta respect that.
Oh, yeah, she like, when, she has, like, the visions of stuff that she fears, she was doing a good job.
The goo, yeah. No, she does a great job. And then Harry. He's a bumbling idiot, and I kind of love him for that.
Running around with his big stick.
Again, Ben, it's just so great that sometimes Doctor Who just has a guy, and Harry is just a guy.
He is just a guy. What do you think of the how Steyer was defeated, all in all? He gets his energy, like, sucked out of him, and he deflates.
It's very much again shows that this is just a mask, which doesn't really help out.
I think it was a good use of the mask, though,
Yeah, it's fine. It's nothing memorable to me.
making a very, horrific kinda imagery.
Yeah, maybe it would have scared some kids. I think honestly, probably what would have scared some kids more was the him torturing those
Oh, yeah,
colonists.
having that guy, like, on the verge of getting his rib cage crushed for several minutes.
But also, I was talking about the guy who dies from dehydration.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Like legit, like that is pure torture. Like that is something that feels really like of this era. I don't even know if that would be something. I feel like that could have been something that in like the previous era, Barry Letts and Barry Letts or Terrence Dicks would have went. Yeah, we can't. That's a little bit too much, huh? But Robert Holmes is go saying, "Yeah, let's go for it. Let's go for this guy dies of dehydration, man. You know how painful dehydration would be to die from?
I can imagine. It took 9 days.
Which I think it is like, isn't it 3 weeks?
I'm not sure. I've never tried, but Imagine it's not a good way to go.
So I'm looking up now. It can take a few days to several weeks. So he's in line. He could have died. 10 days is the average. So he's a little bit worse than the average. Could have suckered it. He could have if only he lasted a couple more hours, he would have been fine. But like that stood out to me also just as a way of I remember Russell said like one of his rules when it comes to like Doctor Who, what you can and cannot do. One of his things was prolonged suffering. And that stood out to me. It's like that is the pure like that is like terrorism. Like that is some Guantanamo Bay level of torture of this guy
Mhm.
in this kids show. I have to respect to that.
Yeah. Scary. All right, Cam, should we talk about the cliffhangers, or should I say cliffhanger?
Yes. So, what do you have for us, Ben?
I have Sarah is captured and Harry watches as the Sontaran Styre exits his ship and removes his helmet. And we get like
Ooh,
a zoom in.
very original. Never seen that done before with this on time.
Never, ever. And then I guess they're continuing in the next episode that it's a continuous narrative. At the end of the arc in space, they transmat down to Earth, and at the end of this one, they transmat back to Nerva, or at least they intend to. But what's your favorite cliffhanger, Cam?
I don't know. I'm kind of hard. It's kind of hard, right? Because part one's pretty good, but part one is also really good. So, like, part one, I think is not like the as good. You know what I'm saying?
I think I have to give it to part one though. Just barely edged it out as my favorite.
That might be a hot take there, man. That might be a hot
I
take.
know. Well, what would you rank this episode then, Cam?
7.2. Plain and simple. This episode reeks of 7.2. There's nothing higher or lower I could say about 7.2, but not as good as Edge of Destruction though. That episode rules in terms of my memory at least.
Yeah, I remember it being all good,
Compared to the Sontaran Experiment, Edge of Destruction's big.
and I quite like the rescue.
I haven't seen the rescue.
Yeah, so 7.2 I think is it. It's kind of like 7.1 is yeah, it's 7.2.
It's perfect, right?
And then in terms of Doctor Who magazine's polls, it's steadily gone down over the years. In 98, it was 21. Then in '09, it was 23. In 2014, it was 26. And most recently, it was 27, which I think makes sense. It
Yeah.
as a memory, oh, it's one with a Santaran. Yeah, that was fine. And as people rewatch it and really finding it unremarkable, it would go down. Definitely, objectively, the worst Fourth Doctor one so far.
But also it kind of you can kind of imagine a world that this is in the middle,
Yeah, I mean
low
it's
middle
a
even.
7 out of 10 for
Yeah.
sure in that ballpark.
But there's definitely episodes that can be much worse than this.
Yeah. But before that, next week, Cam, oh boy, get excited. Genesis of the Dalek,
The granddaddy.
one of the legendary episodes of Doctor Who. Oh boy.
First appearance of Davros? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's excited to talk about it.
get hyped.
I'm imagining that it's gonna be probably our longest episode to date,
Yeah,
but I don't know. We'll wait and see.
we will see. So be sure to tune in next week for that. And while you're here, give us a subscription or a follow, give us a like or a rating, leave a comment, share it with any Doctor Who fans that you know. Check us out on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter. All the wonderful things that you do to support us. We really appreciate it. And have a wonderful rest of your day.
Peace out, everyone.